Tuttle here for Ferguson Roof Systems. For 43 years, Ferguson Roof Systems has been protecting Oklahoma's homes and businesses with quality roofing services. Their goal was to be the most honest and dependable roofing company in the state, all while providing free services such as lifetime labor warranty and annual inspections. Well, mission accomplished with thousands of client testimonials, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and a 5-star rating on Google. Look, the weather gives you enough to worry about, so why worry about who to trust with your roof? Call Ferguson Roof Systems today or find out more at fergusonroofsystems.com.
Hey everyone, Meteorologist Aaron Tuttle back with you again. It is a little after 9:30, about 9:36 if you want to get exact. It is, let's see, 36.5 degrees there in the bottom corner of the screen. And a wind out of the south. It says 20 there, but there's been some gusts higher than that. I can hear them every now and then. But we've got some changes coming in our weather, kind of for the good and also for the bad. It's been an active week. Will continue to be so. So thanks for tuning in. By the way, on Facebook, I see Julie, you've already sent me some stars this evening, so thank you very much. Type in there. Tell me where you're calling from. Tell me where you're calling from. That's what you normally hear. Tell me where you're watching from. Put in your town name. That way I know where you're at. If you're in Oklahoma or maybe North Texas, maybe you're in Dallas, type in there. Say Big D. You guys on YouTube, thanks for checking in. I see you in the chat. Miss Tuttle is around. She's actually down in Big D right now. She's in Dallas doing some training. So let's see. Mary, thank you for the stars. David, thank you for the stars. Guys on Facebook, and thanks for joining me, and also on Rumble. So I put the link in the private group page again, and I see you there in Shawnee. If you want to get notified better directly from me from your instant messenger, there's two ways there. You can either join the Facebook broadcast channel or the old way that I had for the opt-in weather updates. That still runs for now until I may kill it later. We'll see. That one costs me money. The other one is for free. I like free. You like free? I like free. So we'll see. I may drop that one later since Facebook has created this new broadcast channel. On the main page, I'm going to post the links as well. And if you'd like to support or donate here to AT's Weather, there's a link there. You can find out more information there as well. So, all right. Well, you come to the right place. I don't hold anything back. As you know, tell it like it is. Shoot it to you straight. Hold no punches. How many cliches can I throw in there? Like since Sunday, I've been talking about this weather change coming our way for next Sunday. And so we'll see. We're going to have a little ice around here. We'll see how much it's going to be and how long it's going to last and location where it's be centered, all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're going to get into for tonight, because that's the big deal coming. Of course, we'll also talk about the short term, which is our next cold front that'll be coming in here momentarily. All right, so it looks like I got everything else all fixed up and taken care of. So first things first, out there currently, you can probably see a little bit in the lighting from the bottom of the camera view, but there are some clouds rolling around, and that's actually helping to keep our temperatures up a little bit. We're 36 degrees. Like I said, we would be a lot colder if the clouds weren't around. It acts like a little bit of a blanket, and our winds are a little strong. Now, it is just into the mid-30s here, but you don't have to go too far north, and you're going to find yourself some 20s and some teens across the plains. So much colder weather just off to our north. And believe it or not, this old cold air mass up here will work its way into Oklahoma tomorrow. What it'll do is just prevent us from really getting any warmer. It's not going to really cool us down any, kind of keep us status quo. But if you look up the road from there into North Dakota and you cross the bridge to Canada, Winnipeg's minus 11, Saskatoon minus 9, or as Jody, what movie was that with Adam Sandler? Was it Adam Sandler movie? And the guy's like, "Hello, ladies, I'm from Saskatoon." Anyway, they were all like, jaw dropping. He was so gorgeous, and then he opened up his mouth, and he's like, "Hello, I'm in Saskatoon." They just busted out laughing. Anyway, that just made me think of that. So if you look up here north to Yellowknife, this is the center of the Arctic air masses coming our way. So Yellowknife's around minus 17, minus 18 in that area. So that's the cold air coming. That's our next wave, and that'll be here by Friday. I know, hard to believe it can move that fast, but it can. And all in this area here is all fresh snowpack over the last few days, so it should not moderate a whole lot. And the friction should be frictionless, so it should roll in here pretty quick. With nothing to stop it but a barbed wire fence, as they say. Well, that's the big change coming our way for the short term, which will be for early Friday morning, late Thursday night, as that cold front sweeps across the state and brings in temperatures back into the teens and single digits. Gross, right? Okay, so let's see. Today, speaking of teens and single digits, we still have some numbers below zero in far eastern Oklahoma. This little patch right here near Fort Smith. So that was your coldest parts of the state. Otherwise, as you traveled west, things moderated a bit into the mid-teens. So another cold day, but not nearly as bad. And I've got to eat it. I will tell you, when I bust, I will admit it, I busted. So I thought we'd stop into the upper 30s to near 40 here in central Oklahoma. Warmer down here in southwest, this is all fine. I really thought we'd be about 5 degrees cooler here, which we did not. And even northeast Oklahoma got above freezing. So that Arctic air mass, today was a day where it had finally lost all of its umph and mixed out, and we recovered quite nicely as a result. So that should mean that any of your frozen pipes should no longer be frozen, because there's no excuse. The weather has warmed above freezing, and we still are in most cases. Now we do have this little wind change out here. There's a surface low developing right here, and behind that is a cold front, so you can probably make out the change in the wind barbs. So this is where the cold air is going to be filtering in from for tonight, and this is a very weak front. This is the one that's coming in for Thursday night. This is the one that's just coming in overnight tonight. So in other words, keeping Thursday pretty much, reasonable. We do have those clouds rolling through the state like we mentioned, so you'll notice those tonight, but it is dry below this cloud deck, so none of that will turn into precipitation. How dry is it? Dew point values are still into the single digits across the eastern half of the state for the most part. We do have a little bit better moisture out here in western Oklahoma, and the front's kicking up a lot of moisture here into the panhandle. Okay, so temperatures. We are getting back below freezing in this area, and it is now below freezing in far northeastern Oklahoma and even far southeast Oklahoma. But everywhere else in between is still a few degrees above the 32-degree mark. All right, so let's take a look at the storm system coming our way. Jet stream pattern is going to show this change in the flow. This is going to, I'll stop you here till Sunday afternoon. So what we have here is a failure to communicate. I'm full of these tonight. What we have is this big trough axis right here. So it's kind of trying to develop a little bit of a low in this area, but what we're really focused on and what we really care about is the fact that we're going to see this little dashed line right here, which just indicates the trough axis, which means we'll have disturbances that rotate through this, and then right here in Oklahoma and Texas, and there's kind of a southwesterly flow aloft, and that'll create the instability, and it will create the lift in the atmosphere to produce some rain. And that's at the mid and upper levels. The lower levels will open up the Gulf of Mexico and let some moisture in from there as well. Now, if we look at, I already showed you the clouds, so we can skip that part actually. So let's do this. Look at the dew points coming in from Canada. I'm going to push play here, and you'll see this big batch of brown with some orange kind of mixed in, some really dry air plummet right here into Texas, all the way down to Mexico, really. Now, it does lose its punch once it gets down here. It does kind of fade out a little bit as far as those really dry numbers, but that's still pretty good. These are dew point values in the teens down here, and we have them basically in the single digits to around 10 degrees across the body of Oklahoma. The big brunt of that next Arctic blast, though, as far as the dryness of it, you can see how it's anchored here across the upper Midwest, where their dew point values are in the negative 20s. So if we were to the negative 20s here, we would have a repeat of what we just saw a little while ago, but the temperatures are not that cold, and we will not be getting that type of a direct shot, which is helpful with the upcoming ice storm. Now, as far as the winds are concerned, obviously they're a little breezy today. They're going to calm down a little bit because we have that little front that's coming through. It's a weak one. So by daybreak tomorrow, it's moving through central Oklahoma. You can probably make out the little change in the wind barb directions right here. Since this is a northwest breeze, this is kind of a south-southwest wind here, and kind of a south-southeast wind here. So you have your low pressure developing here. But anyway, so this will move on through in the morning hours, and it'll pick the winds back up behind it. Not terrible, though, not like it was today, but at least it'll stay a little bit on the breezy side, probably about 10, 15 miles per hour. Might have a gust up to around 20, which is way better than 40. Now, we will have big wind coming. This is 7 o'clock Thursday. Now keep in mind, Arctic air sometimes comes in a little faster than what the models advertise, can be by a few hours. But when it does come into the state, you're going to feel it. So this is a big wall of wind coming in the evening hours for Thursday. So this is, I'll show you the gusts here in a minute, but these are sustained winds up around 20 knots, 24, 25 knots across many areas. Again, that's up around 30 miles per hour or so. And you will see these winds continue through the Thursday night time frame into Friday morning. and then they'll start to calm down during the day on Friday. More reasonable, kind of 10 miles per hour, maybe 15 by late day. Now that we can handle, and they'll be nice, calm, cool, and collected by Saturday morning. And that'll help to allow temperatures to really drop. Okay, so here's those wind gusts we talked about. So let's zip you on through here till 6 o'clock in the morning. So there's some wind gusts around 20 to 30 miles per hour here behind that front. So otherwise not nearly as windy as this time around as it was today. And then here comes the big wall of wind right here. So here's the evening hours. So all the red on the map is winds gusting up around 40 plus miles per hour. So you can see pockets of that here over the area for Thursday night overnight while you're sleeping into Friday morning, and they will die down a little bit for the morning, not much, by about 10 miles per hour probably. But that's going to give us a nice wind chill, which I'll show you here in a second. And then there's those wind gusts later in the afternoon, dying down to really negligible values. So there you go. So there's your 2 windy periods. Okay, so as far as temperatures are concerned, I used a blend of the models to show our forecast here coming up for tomorrow. So we'll start you off into the 20s across most of the state. We are going to warm you, though, back up to around, let's just say the upper 30s to near 40 by around lunchtime. And we should kind of hold in the lower 40s for tomorrow. There are some miles that like to get us a little warmer out here in southwest Oklahoma into the low to mid 50s. So that would be your sweet spot if you're looking for some really mild weather. Otherwise, here comes that big blast of cold air coming on in. So we head into Thursday night. So if you're going to be going out and about or on Friday, get ready. You need those coats, the gloves, the mittens, scarves, the beanies. You got it. As the temperatures fall back into the teens for Friday morning. There's the coldest spots right around 6 o'clock in the morning. And then as we head into the afternoon period, about Friday afternoon, we're probably going to hold into the mid-20s, some upper 20s out to the south and west of us here in southwest Oklahoma. And then on Saturday, we're... Hold on. Okay. All right. It is all about you, isn't it? Okay. You feel better? I'm in the middle of something. Do you mind? Yeah? Okay. I don't know if you heard her. She just sits here whining, and I can't think and whine at the same time. Okay. I think she's good. This is really all she usually wants. This is Penelope. See? Hi, everybody. Okay. Let's see if that's all she needed. Okay. Where was I? Okay, Saturday. So Friday evening. Yes. Go to Saturday morning. Okay. Back into the teens and single digits out there. And then for the afternoon, we're going to warm you back into the mid to upper 20s on Saturday. So it'll be a cold weekend. And then as we head into Sunday morning, we're back into the teens and low 20s. So this is where things get interesting. So this is where the magic happens. Now, we're going to have some sunshine for the first part of our Sunday. But the clouds will roll in around lunchtime. And then after that, that should stop the warm-up. So we potentially could get about a 10-degree warm-up. Could. 22 to, say, 32 here in Oklahoma City. This spot has 33. But tomato, tomato. So the point is, we might either just get near freezing or maybe a couple degrees above Sunday afternoon. But the clouds will roll in, and that should stop the warming trend. So we're going to see if we are able to get that warm. It really won't matter because what's going to happen is we're going to fall back below freezing as that precipitation starts to fall. And once that happens, well, that's when you get the ice developing. So as we head into the midnight hour and then onward, you do see temperatures out here all the way down south to Dallas, Plano, is into the lower 30s. So that's where we're going to have the crucial part for development for ice. So pretty much, in this zone here is where we're focused on for midnight for ice accumulations in that zone. All right, so let's go to 6 a.m. Monday. So you can see we're below freezing pretty much over most of Oklahoma, even parts of North Texas. And then by noontime, that's when we get above freezing, knock on wood, and then all the ice that we are having stops, goes to regular old-fashioned, just a chilly rain, and any ice accumulations that we've had then melt. So that's what I've got for you on the good news side. It is a short window of frozen precipitation. Okay, so that's kind of how temperatures pan out through the weekend. Like I mentioned, wind chill values will be quite cold on Friday. So here's Friday morning. We should have wind chill values, probably right around 0 for the morning hours. And as the winds slack off in the afternoon, we'll rebound a little bit. So your wind chill values will be into the teens later in the day. So definitely coldest at that period. And then Saturday, not much of a wind either, but it'll be cold that morning. So wind chill values back into the single digits, some cases below 0. And for the afternoon, wind chill values still up around the teens. and then we'll probably rinse and repeat for Sunday. Okay, so now let's talk about how far south that cold air goes. And this is kind of a good view of that. So I'll just zip it through to Sunday morning. All right, so Sunday morning, this is, I use the blend of the models. So we can see where the cold air has infiltrated all the way down here into Texas. So the leading edge of this will start to erode during the day on Sunday. So let's go to midday. You see how quickly it erodes. It temperatures warm into the 40s down here. But we have to watch this little tail end right here. That's midday. But then as we go back into the evening and overnight hours, so that blue line kind of creeps back to the south. That's the freezing line. So that kind of puts it right about the Dallas-Fort Worth area as far as the edge of the precipitation of the ice section goes. Okay, then by afternoon on Monday, there's noon, so you can still see some pockets of freezing temperatures here in northwest Arkansas and Missouri. Otherwise, most of the plains here, the southern plains, has warmed above freezing, and that includes in a Monday afternoon, with the exception right here, a couple little spots of Arkansas and Missouri. So it means your ice accumulations still could be ongoing in that area, whereas the rest of Oklahoma and all of North Texas is above freezing and therefore ice free. So what time is it going to start? Again, we're a little early on that to give you specifics. Same thing with that fine line in the sand on where the line stops at 32 degrees and then onward. But we'll do our best for the data that we have to work with. So right now, this is where it kind of starts to develop down here in south central Texas for midday on Sunday. And then by the evening hour, starts to break out some very light freezing drizzle, very light freezing rain. Dallas-Fort Worth area points to the north here in Oklahoma. As we head into the evening hours toward the midnight, for Sunday, it gets quite heavy down here in North Texas. It's very heavy freezing rain, and then more light freezing rain here in Oklahoma. You can tell that evidently by the color. The deeper the reds, the heavier it would be. And then morning on Monday, again, all this red indicates ice. This is all freezing rain across the eastern half of Oklahoma. And like I mentioned earlier, it seems to be the I-40 corridor is like the dividing line. This is just light stuff along this boundary. And then you go too far north of the boundary and you won't get anything. It'll just basically be nothing out here. But when you go into southeast Oklahoma and western Arkansas, this may be the sweet spot for the highest accumulations, which is what the models are continuing to indicate. All right, let's go into the noontime on Monday, and you can see how most of the heavy precipitation, at least on this model, has moved out, but also has warmed up. So this is all green, no longer red. In other words, no more freezing rain by lunchtime. So that's good. That means it's about a 12-hour window of ice, which is great because sometimes we get stuck with ice and then it just stays frozen and we don't get to thaw and then we're stuck with it. It's a mess. This is not going to be one of those deals, thank goodness. So here's accumulation. This is the other interesting point. We really have to see how much precipitation is going to fall during that window. So if I go into Sunday evening, the model has some very light precipitation here in North Texas and in southern Oklahoma, some spits, you might want to call it, just very, very light glaze. Now, that was the one thing I was going to show you. And I still can, and I think I still will. I'm going to do this on the fly. So hold that thought. Let me pop this up. Okay, so I want to show you this. This is soil temperature at 2 inches down. If you look at 4 inches down, it's about the same. But the point is, look at these numbers down here, 32 degrees. All right, so our road temperatures and our soil temperatures, especially at night, early morning, are going to be pretty much right at freezing. So that means any precipitation that does fall during that time will flash freeze. In other words, it is going to be an ice skating rink immediately. It's not one of those deals you have to wait for it to accumulate and wait for time. It's going to be instant, and it's going to be a mess Sunday night and Monday morning when you're driving around. All right, so let's go to the accumulation. So that was through Sunday evening. Let's go to the midnight hour. And this is where things get interesting. If we can stay below freezing in Dallas through midnight, rainfall amounts out here about a ½ inch. So if this was all ice, that's bad news. You don't want that. That kind of weight will cause some power outages and obviously the travel issues. We still have light amounts up here at that point, but as we go from the midnight to daybreak, we pick up a quick 75 hundredths to maybe 9/10 of an inch of precipitation. So again, if this is all ice, that's almost an inch of ice weight on trees, power lines, etc. So that's going to cause a problem. Now, hopefully, we'll see if we can get those temperatures to moderate even a little bit here ahead of schedule, just by a couple of hours, anything's going to help. But regardless, that's the amount of precipitation that we have coming into that air mass. So, woo, this is one of those dangerous close calls. Meanwhile, you see some heavy precipitation continues in Arkansas. So again, this would be devastating. That's about an inch of precipitation. That would be the form of freezing rain for those folks. So again, that's a significant issue. Now the good news is we don't have a lot of wind with this event. The wind would make things far worse, which obviously is not good. If we do look at, let me see, has any other models come in on the ice amounts? Nothing new, but I can show you what the old data looked like. The new def won't come in for about another, let's see, I think, what time is it? Yeah, about probably another 15 minutes, which most of you will be asleep by then. I don't blame you. But I will look at the old stuff just so you can see what the old outcome or the old precipitation looked like as far as ice accumulations. And when you're this far out, remember, it's not going to be something to hang your hat on. It's just going to be something to kind of give us an idea on trends. And that's really pretty much all we look at this point. All right, I'm going to go to Tuesday morning, so this will cover all of Monday. So the Canadian model still kind of favors southeast Oklahoma, western Arkansas, and these some amounts are up around 7/10, so 3/4 of an inch of precipitation in the form of freezing rain. You can see, though, from Tulsa to Oklahoma City, that northwestern edge, I-44 corridor, only about 1/10 of an inch. But I got to warn you, that's a traffic nightmare. It may not be a power issue, but it is a traffic nightmare. All right, let me see what the other models had said at that time. And surprisingly enough, the American model actually has ice, which blows me away. That actually it has a clue of what's even going on. So kudos to it. But it actually passes the same kind of area, I-44 cutoff, and then back to the south through Dallas, and then points out north and east. It does seem like a secondary hotspot, though, up here across southwestern Missouri. If you look at the European, really disappointed in its performance. Either it really struggling here, or it really thinks we're going to moderate those temperatures really fast and not give much time to accumulate in the ice. Regardless, it still has the same general area, but it has far less amounts. And if you blend the models, that's the general area that we're talking about. So that's, again, something we'll be watching is the ice accumulations and the exact placement in the data. That's the big change we'll look for through Friday, and of course, how cold is it really going to be? If you look at the National Weather Service, they posted a graphic this afternoon where they have increased their confidence now of significant icing here across the eastern, I'd say, 2/3 of the state, the exception out here, the northwestern third, where not much will occur. Again, that I-44 corridor being the favorites. This is the probability map for that activity. And if you look at temperatures, well, obviously cold over the weekend with daytime highs will be into the 20s, overnight lows into the teens for a while. Sunday, like I said, I don't think we'll quite hit 37, maybe 35 here in Oklahoma City, but it's only by a couple degrees off. And then by Monday morning, should start you like around the midnight hour, for example, like around 28, 29 degrees. And then we'll slowly climb up. We're probably not going to hit 41 at the end of the day. The rain would have to completely stop and maybe almost some peaks of clearing for that to happen. Otherwise, we should be in the upper 30s at least by the afternoon. And then after that, it's fine. All the way up through February 1st is the next big Arctic front that we'll get in here. If you do look at, I was going to show you this guy here. So for Dallas-Fort Worth, when you look at the vertical profile in the atmosphere, it's looking through midnight for precipitation totals. We're looking at about, let's see here, through Monday. Let's stop it let's stop it at Monday. So about 4/10. Yeah, so 4/10 of an inch of precipitation. So obviously we don't want that to be all ice, so that's a big mess down there. But just to show you that potential resides. Right now the GFS model has it all liquid by the skin of its teeth down in Dallas. That's how close that line is. So that's why I can't really see it going any further south than that. I think they're on the edge of that icy mixture. And again, the GFS, which is all we have on this particular type of viewpoint, is notorious for being a little too warm. So don't take any solace in the fact that it didn't have any ice on that output, because it easily should have been. If we do look at Oklahoma City, for example, it doesn't have hardly any accumulation, about 1/10 of an inch during that period. But again, that's enough to cause an ice skating rink for Sunday night into Monday morning. Plenty of lift, plenty of moisture. I've shown you these plots before, and so you're kind of used to seeing that. You're probably becoming your own meteorologist at this point. But for those that are new, we look at the snow growth layer, which is here, these little pink bounded box between 15 and 20,000 feet. That's where the snow starts to grow big time heavy. And you have the little red areas, which indicates omega, which is lift, which juxtapose over the moisture. The moisture is everything in green and purple. So it's all your moisture, it's all your lift, it's where the snow growth forms. The problem is when it gets down here into this layer, there's warm air right here that this snow melts through. And it melts, goes to this layer, and when it comes out the other side, it doesn't have time to reform into snow and or sleet, so it just hits the ground and freezes on contact. So this was Tulsa, for example, as I looked at it, and it had about 1,500ths of ice accumulations, maybe 2/10 in the data here for tonight. So that's something we'll do is we'll watch the trends on the data, and then we'll see if the amounts are going up or down, if the whole thing shifts a little to the east or a little to the south, whatever. We can massage all that stuff. So the take-homes that you'll want to know is, yes, John, Ardmore and Fort Smith, so you must be late to the party. That's going to be included in that. So the take-home here is that it is a North Texas, Oklahoma event, including Arkansas and Missouri, for Sunday night through the day on Monday. The bad news is it's ice. It's freezing rain, freezing drizzle. Has decent accumulations, maybe a little excessive in parts of southern, southeastern, and western Oklahoma and western Arkansas. Enough to cause some power outages. The winds will be light, so that will not make that worse. So that's good news. Lighter amounts in Tulsa and Oklahoma City as it looks right now, unless the track changes and things shift west. So that's helpful. But bottom line is it's going to be an ice skating rink. That's the main issue is for travel for Sunday night into Monday morning, stretching from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, northward over the Red River, in Oklahoma, and all the surrounding places like we mentioned. The timing, like we said, should probably start in late Sunday afternoon down south into North Texas, and then kind of just work its way quickly to the north. So by midnight, should be quite a bit of precipitation around, especially south, and then even parts of Oklahoma, probably pretty decent. Oklahoma City and Tulsa should be getting something by then. And then it gets heavier overnight into Monday morning, little by little, hour by hour. And then by the time we head to Monday, like around 9, 8 maybe, it really should start to moderate quite a bit. So it already should be by that point above freezing around North Texas, in theory, knock on wood, for the data I'm seeing tonight anyways. And then starting to creep northward across Red River. So kind of each hour it creeps more north, and then the temperatures continue to warm above freezing. So by the time we head to lunchtime, knock on wood, the state should be above freezing by that point in time. So that gives us about 12 hours of freezing rain, which is 12 hours too many, but it is what it is. It could be a lot worse. We could have Arctic air that filters in behind this, or that stays here. But that's not going to happen this time around, so that's good. So that's the good news I got for you. So that just answered all of you guys' question here at the bottom. So yeah, the as far as anything winter weather-wise, nothing really significant until the 1st of February. So we'll have another cold front come in, another Arctic front, and that looks to have a little moisture with it. We probably have a pretty good upper flow to work with at that point in time, so actually have moisture for this Arctic intrusion. And usually when that happens, you'll get kind of a mixture, which will be a wintry mix, like a little bit of light freezing rain, sleet, and snow, all three along that Arctic boundary that transitions pretty quickly with decent amounts to cause some roadway issues, but probably not enough to cause, other issues. We'll see. I'm talking, good grief, almost 14 days away. Let me get through this one first. AJ, any word on the Durant radar? Yeah, a bunch of infighting. That's about all I know. Everybody's angry at everybody, and they can't decide on who gets to do what. A typical bureaucracy. I can't even say that word. Bureaucracy. At first they had some technical issues with parts is parts, but that got resolved, but then now they can't decide what to do with the data and all that kind of stuff. Darla, by the way, thank you for the stars. I appreciate that. Carrie, thank you for the stars. I appreciate you doing that for me. But anyway, so that's all I know about that situation. Okay, so I should have given everybody, I hear ERCOT's still having some trouble, but I hear, I think I've told summary of everything that you guys need to know. Informal greeting on YouTube. You're awesome. Thank you, as always. Appreciate the tip. You guys on YouTube, again, let me check in real quick. So if there's any quick questions before I go, and actually, what I can do is I can answer a couple of questions, and the newer data is coming in right now, and I should be able to see it here in a couple of minutes. So let me see if there's any questions. There's some Penelope fans on here, that's for sure. Yes, it was. It was Grown Ups, Adam Sandler. That's a good one. Actually, that's right. That was actually hilarious. The Grown Ups movie was, I wouldn't say classic, but for an Adam Sandler movie, it was actually pretty decent because he can have some real stinks. That one was a good one. So yeah, if you're going to be going out anywhere on Monday, you want to plan on leaving in the afternoon. Do not plan on leaving in the morning to do anything. All right, so that'll help out. So let the roads melt off, let all the ice melt off, and then you can head out. So my guess is if things go well right now, after lunchtime, you should be free to go. I'm putting a lot out there. That's a lot of detailed stuff on a Wednesday night. But man, if I nail that, you guys owe me. Like, owe me. Like a plaque of the best meteorologist in the world ever. And then you'll have to erase that joke that we can be wrong 90% of the time and still get paid. So I don't like being wrong, ever. So I work hard at being right. And what's funny is in life it doesn't matter, but in weather it does. There's so many other things to life than being right. Trust me. That's not the end all. Plus, I thought about something too. I was watching this guy. This is a little deviation, but you'll appreciate it because it's intellect. If you guys like intellect, you'll appreciate this. Amanda, thank you for the stars. I never thought about it this way until he said something, but there really is no truth. And you're like, whoa, what'd you just say? I know, because I used to thought the same thing. There's truth and there's no truth, right? All right, so if you want to take it to one extreme, you can say there's truth as in there's God's truth, all right? Outside of that realm, truth doesn't exist for mankind because we're not capable of it. We're not capable of it because of many reasons. You can go through them all from your heart to whatever, but I'm going to speak mainly on the brain. And the brain is a liar. The brain is dirty, man. So in my diet guide, I mentioned that the brain is not your friend. The brain will lie to you. It will tell you how good something tastes. And you will actually can picture it, you can vision it, and you'll go and you'll eat that thing later. And you're like, oh, that didn't taste nearly as good as my brain had remembered. So your brain is a con. But what is interesting is that your brain can only provide signals off of something that you're ingesting through your eyes. It's all make-believe. Everything in here is a matrix of neurons and electrical currents and all kinds of stuff you get in the neuroscience field. That's garbage. It is pure garbage, and it somehow tries to make this into a reality for you. So keep that in mind. And your sensory inputs, I believe, is only like a fraction of a percent versus everything else that's out there in the entire world that you'll never be able to see, witness, feel, touch, experience. You won't be able to, like the electromagnetic or the field that you can see visual. There's way more to the space that you cannot see. You see a fraction of that. So your brain has to take less than 1% of data and then process it and then tell you what's true or not. The sky's blue. It's true, And then somebody else's brain can see something and then go and then attach that to your belief system, your morals, your convictions, your upbringing, your other knowledge of what you've learned or influence or impact of other part of life, and a completely different truth to that. So your truth and your truth are two completely different things, but yet you both say it's true because your brain tells you it's true. And from everything else you know in life, you'll die on the sword saying it's true. Well, that person will do it too. So you can't have two people that says they're both true, right? But if each person has only one set of inputs, and that input's what your brain has to work with, guess what? It's true. So that's what I'm saying. You'll never know real truth while you're on this planet. So anyway, there's a little side deal. I thought I'd just throw it out there because I found that interesting. And once you start to think deeply about it, you're like, yeah, we're all screwed. So, but anyway, I thought it was fun. Let's see. Some of you guys want a dog play date. Larry does love to play. He's always looking for dogs to play with. Does the mountains in southeast Oklahoma help with the icing? No, I mean, not really. And actually, you could probably get like little mini areas of lift through there to the Ozarks because of geographical terrain, which may actually kind of make things worse. But it's not going to help like temperature-wise to prevent it or anything. Yeah, this was a Joe Rogan episode. No, I did not see that on Joe Rogan, but that's definitely something he probably could have had. Although they'd probably been token at the time as they discussed it. So, Bridget, so Oklahoma City, Norman, Sunday night through Monday morning ice. Yes. Still has not changed. Kurt, actually, I barely even drink, believe it or not. I have like a bunch of liquor in the corner of the house on a little deal that's got a bunch of dust on it. It's just because, I'll tell you another thing. And we all do it, and just because, sometimes you do stuff you know is bad for you, but you do it anyway. That's what alcohol is. Trust me, it is the worst thing you can put in your body. It is pure poison from head to toe, from your gut biome health to your brain, everything. There's not one positive thing that it does. Well, I guess it kills bacteria, so I guess that's positive. But if it kills good bacteria, then that's back to negative. But nobody really wants to think about that, so we just shut up and drink. So anyway, but for me, being in the bodybuilding world and stuff, you can't drink and be in that. You stop your muscle growth and you stop your fat loss, and you don't transform your physique in that environment. So you can't fill yourself with poison and try to transform everything, because it's a science, and if you don't have the right ingredients, you get no progress. So, which, by the way, if you would like to get my diet guide, you can get it at any time. Just send me a direct message on Facebook, and I'll send you the link. Okay, so I'm looking at some data now just to see if anything new's come in. And let's do this. All right. Go to the American model here. For giggles. All right, so American model by Sunday evening. It's got that little bit of light rain and freezing drizzle mixture blowing up here. So you can see with the red colors by midnight. Moving into southern half of Oklahoma by Sunday night late. And then by Monday morning through Tulsa and Missouri now and Arkansas. But you will notice it erodes the old cold air quite a bit quicker than the Icon model did, which this will be an error, but it still shows the change in how we do go from an ice to a wet rain that moves on off, with the exception of, looks like, parts of Arkansas and Missouri. So kind of very similar to the Icon, although the main difference here is that it keeps it all rain here in Dallas. So if I were to click down here just to see, it has 34 degrees over 32 at 3 o'clock in the morning. Let me go at midnight. For Dallas, it's got 36 over 24 with a wet bulb temperature of 32. So it does have freezing rain, even though the output doesn't look like it, down here for midnight in Dallas. And if you go to prior to that one, it's got 33 over 23, still a dew point, or yeah, about 29 looks like, or 30 for the wet bulb. So yeah, so it's still, even though there's a show, this is really, it's not that good on this map output, but so even the GFS American model still thinks there'll be some ice down here in North Texas when the event starts, but it doesn't have it lingering very long. All right, let's see. After that, there's that next little wave of rain because it's not cold enough to do anything else after that for Tuesday, but we'll at least have some more rain after that. And then let's go to the Canadian. Now the Canadian will typically be a little on the cold bias, but it will still be the first to tell you what's up. Okay, and then we'll see what's doing here. So here's the evening. So there's 6 p.m. It's slowed down the development of the precipitation. It's got a little extra dry air down here at the lower levels for Dallas. But it also has a temperature of 37 over a 19 dew point, so wet bulb still freezing or less. And so there's the breakup here. And this is at midnight. So in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, for example, it has 33 over 31, which is, again, 32, which is right at the freezing point. So it's also considered the melting point, depending on which side you're on. You want 32.1 or are you at 31.9? Makes a difference. Physics. But anyway, north of there, just by county, northwest of town, it still has you in the pink. So you can see how close of a call it is. So when I put Dallas on the edge of it, I really meant it. I don't think it's going to go any further south than that. But there, it's got freezing rain here, just north and west side of DFW, 31/29. So that's how close that is. And that's for midnight Sunday. But you can see that already moves here in Oklahoma City, for example. So it has us at, what are we at? 31/28. So dew point or a wet bulb of 29 or 30. All right, and then the new hour hasn't come in yet. We'll hear in a second. But all it'll do is just blow up and cover the rest of eastern Oklahoma, and then probably a little heavier. Here it goes. Yeah, there it goes. See, new one just came in. All right, so you can see how now it's all the northern counties of Texas along the Red River. So it's out of the Metroplex in Dallas by daybreak. So, for example, basically what it's saying is that Dallas, Texas has basically a 6-hour window of freezing rain before it moderates and gets temperatures get warm to melt it back to regular rain, which would be great for them because if it turns out they can get above 32 by rush hour, then you just made a world of difference down there. Anyway, so there you go, the I-44 cutoff. So here's I-44 right here. Here, I'll just draw on the map here for you. Right about like that. Okay, so you can see how that's still the dividing line. There's a little bit of action along it, not much north and west, and then the rest of the heavy stuff south and east for precipitation goes. And we're going to get to the amounts here in a second. Let's see, let me go to the QPF. Let's see, so there's midnight, and then there's morning, and then there's lunchtime. All right, so through the morning for sure, we know we got ice, pure ice. That's a 1/2 inch of what would be pure ice. And then down here in North Texas, it just kind of varies. Some areas a 1/10 of an inch, some areas a 1/4 of an inch, some a 1/3. So interesting. Might be a sweet spot down here near Wichita Falls, south of Lawton. So we'll see if that pans out. And then gets heavy in eastern Oklahoma between daybreak and noon. Here we got amounts up to around 1 inch. So this looks pretty scary. And then we got another 1/2 inch on top of what already fell here. The difference, though, we may be above freezing, at least maybe in this area, but we still might be below freezing in this area. So even though it says 1 inch of QPF or precipitation, we may have already now warmed above freezing by this time, because this is lunchtime. So if this was all just a cold rain, then we're in good shape. Up here, though, there's a better probability this is going to be still ice at that point, but quickly changing over. So let's see what it does with the amounts. Okay, so this is the amount of ice accumulations that it has, and it's going the heavy here. It likes this little region here of south central and a little part of southeast Oklahoma, and then this other part here in east Oklahoma to western Arkansas as a secondary bullseye. That's up around almost 3/4. This one down here is looks like 6/10. So we'll see what happens. But that's enough ice, like I said, to cause some, no doubt, cause travel issues. And then with ice accumulations up to 1/2 inch, you can get some power outages with that. But without wind, that's the saving grace. I think 1/4 of an inch is what it would take along with wind to cause power outages. I think you can get up to about 1/4 and mostly be okay. You might have a few isolated deals, but you really need a little bit more than that for the weight. Cody, I think it's 1/4 inch of for an ice storm warning, but I'd have to go back and look. And before then, a lot of times you'll get like a winter weather advisory. And there's some other categories they can do, but anyway. All right, and then I think, the American model, we can look at its output for the ice. It should be less, but still the same area. So the take home here is that man, honestly, they have not changed. Since I've been looking at this, it's the same area over and over and over. So it's basically kind of in this zone. And then it'll vary, just kind of move around just a little bit. But that's, man, for 4 days now in a row, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, this has been on the table. Now, could you come in and eventually it goes away? Sure, but it depends on how cold we actually get over the weekend and Friday. That's when the models will either start to back off or they're going to hammer down. So one or the other, when they realize the short-term models start to see it, and we see how much of that push is actually in here, the dew points, all that kind of stuff, that's whenever, it'll be funny, that's when all of a sudden the hysterics will increase in the TV world. If they come on and all of a sudden this is actually really going to happen and it'll be a half inch of ice, then all of a sudden you're going to see panic and pandemonium and breaking news and wall-to-wall coverage and everything else. But you heard crickets for the last 4 days, even though the data's been the same forever. That's the way it goes. It's funny too because normally they like to get you panicking a whole week out, but ice storms they're really bad at. I don't know what's going on with that. In the weather world, everybody's afraid to call for ice. I don't get it. It's no different than anything else. Either you got the testicular fortitude or you don't, as Vince McMahon would say. All right, listen, I got to get out of here. You guys have a great rest of your night. I'll do some more lives here for this week, and we'll see how the data is shifting and changing. So I usually do it around lunchtime, so it's like a quarter to noon, usually, right about that time, and then right around 9:30, and then we can get the latest on that. So no bread at the store on Saturday. Yeah, if you make that bread run, better do it quick. Obviously, you don't need to do that. I was joking. You're not locked in. You're not stuck or anything like that. It melts, so you're good. All right, Susan, thank you for the stars on our way out the door. You guys have a good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.